So I understand, at least from a public perception perspective, why people are upset that maybe the prince got some special treatment.
All right. Well, in some other big news this week, we have to talk about Prince Harry. So a lot of people have been talking because the Heritage Foundation says his visa application must now be released so the American taxpayer can understand whether Harry declared his drug use. So Mike Howell, he is the director of the Heritage Foundation's Oversight Project, said this request is in the public interest in light of the potential revocation of Prince Harry's visa for illicit substance use and further questions regarding the prince's drug use and whether he was properly vetted before entering the United States. You know, the Heritage Foundation says if border officials did know, and now that Harry's case will raise questions about whether or not he got special privilege because his wife's a actress, he's of course a duke. So they said that this would be illegal. So could Prince Harry be deported if he lied on his U.S. visa about drug use?
Well, Christina, it's certainly possible that the prince could have his visa revoked. So, when you're dealing with immigration cases, unfortunately, these are not public files, so they're confidential. So, when you're dealing with the criminal case or civil case, often the cases that we talk about here on Legal, yes, we have a lot of clarity because these are public documents, but the same doesn't apply to immigration documents. So obviously, I know the conservative foundation, they're a conservative organization. They want to know what really happened with the prince, but it's really speculation. I know that he did admit to cocaine use and using mushrooms, and normally that would be a grounds for inadmissibility. Your visa can be denied or be revoked. But without knowing the type of visa that the prince has, it could be a diplomatic visa, even though he's not officially representing the British government. It could be a work visa. It could be an extraordinary talent visa, a spouse visa, a tourist visa, EB-5. It's really tough to know. It's just sort of speculation. But to answer the general question, yes. Normally, an admission of drug use can get a visa denied or revoked, even if it's recreational. There is an exception, however, and that exception is that if you've been sober for a year, you're in remission, and you have a note from a physician, that may be able to grant you a waiver. So it's tough to say because the prince's admitted drug use was when he was a lot younger, I think about 17 years old.
So we will probably never know what is exactly on this visa since these are closed documents then.
That's exactly the case. So, everyone who's online trying to speculate without having the file, without knowing what the prince said, whether there was a waiver remission issue, it's really tough to know. But as a general matter, that admission of drug use is enough. And, you don't have to be arrested or convicted of drug possession or drug use. Just that admission normally is enough.
So who, because the Heritage Foundation came forward then asking for these documents to be unsealed. So whose decision would it be to maybe revoke his visa then?
Yeah, so it'd be a decision by the Department of Homeland Security. They oversee immigration in the United States. So DHS for short. So the Department of Justice, for instance, handles criminal cases. Immigration cases are handled by DHS. Sometimes they call them ICE or INS, and there's different departments, subdivisions within the Department of Homeland Security. But they're the ones who would decide on what to do with respect to the prince's visa and if they're going to act on it. Now, I can tell you, even though a conviction or arrest is not required, I can tell you, generally speaking, when someone's in the United States, DHS normally doesn't act based on admission alone. Usually, someone gets arrested, someone gets convicted, and that's when DHS will put an immigration detainer on that person and maybe deport them or remove them from the country. They normally aren't going around and deporting people just based on these types of admissions alone.
So it seems like Prince Harry will be okay. He'll be staying in Montecito.
Yeah, he'll probably be okay. And obviously, he's married to someone. And I don't know what Meghan Markle's immigration status is, but I'm assuming she's a U.S. citizen or at least a green card holder, and he'll be able to get status through her. So I think he's probably going to be okay. But I understand why some folks are upset because normally you can't get a visa so quickly. I mean, the prince got it really, I think, in a matter of days or weeks to appear on this Netflix documentary. Normally, most types of visas take much longer. And of course, if there is that admission or a lie, that's normally going to be a problem in an immigration application. So I understand, at least from a public perception perspective, why people are upset that maybe the prince got some special treatment.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.